What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have a lot of important information to go over in today's video. Amazon is soaring in after hours after they reported great earnings. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what's going on with Biden in the market overall. And at the end of the video, we have a $25 million options trade that expires tomorrow with Tesla. So make sure to stick around for that. And guys, text StockedUp to 39970. We're going to be sending out market updates and special alerts and things like that. More information will be in the comments down below. So text StockedUp to 39970. But Tom, let's get right into today's episode.
For sure, and Amazon just killed their earnings today. Their sales surged up 44% as they smashed their expectations. The earnings were a 5.79 EPS, or a 15.79 EPS, I should say, versus a 9.54 EPS estimate, and their revenue was 108.5 billion versus 104.4 billion estimated. And CNBC reports that few companies have benefited from the pandemic fueled of online shopping as much as Amazon, and the company notched record profits and revenue last year, while CEO Jeff Bezos announced earlier this month that Amazon crossed the 200 million Prime subscribers goal, up from 150 million at the start of 2020. And that's just significant growth out of Amazon Prime, but also out of their overall revenue, beating estimates by over 4 billion and having 108 billion. I mean, they're definitely no slouch, of course. Everybody knows Amazon. There was even rumors this week of a possible stock split, and it's just awesome to see Amazon at all-time highs right now, really killing it, going all the way up to 3,667.
Sounds great. So like you said, they are at all-time highs, and they just crushed earnings with their sales up 44%. So that's awesome to hear. And while this is great news, I just want to point something out. So Tom, let's take a look at Apple. They reported amazing earnings yesterday, and everyone is expecting them to fly this morning, and then they just tanked off, and they actually finished red on the day. So what we've been seeing a lot this earnings season is these companies will report amazing earnings, and then they'll just tank. Apple and Microsoft are two amazing examples. So, I'm curious what's going to happen with Amazon tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. It just seems like every time that they report, for some reason, they fly up and then they just drain themselves all the way back down. And like we saw today with Apple, it looked pretty good. And then actually, whenever the market opened, you can see it just kind of just fell straight off the table, almost straight back down, erased all of the gains, which was unfortunate. And then we saw the same thing happen with the SPY today. The SPY went up, and then I think this might have been following Apple and a few other the good earnings that happened, but then it just tanked off, after that. And overnight, Biden spoke, which was another one of the reasons why this went up, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it's just awesome to see the SPY also up here around over $420. It kind of double topped today, but very volatile day out of the SPY, going up and down pretty drastically.
Sounds good. So like you mentioned, we do have the SPY at all-time highs. So fill us in. What happened last night with Biden?
Yeah, Biden spoke and he actually pushed the markets up, which was pretty unexpected, but we hit new highs last night and then also this morning right at open. But like I said, it did tank off. And overall, he talked about the new American Families Plan, and he just talked about taxes and spending on a whole bunch of different subjects over the next few years. But Powell also helped by reiterating that rates would remain low, with the market continuing to rise, which is still amazing. And just with that stuff with Biden, he just keeps talking about more spending and more plans over the next few years. He talked about charging stations even with EVs, and everybody was looking for him to say certain things. It was kind of funny in the chat last night, but it was a very interesting night, and he really pushed the market up, which was great. And like I said, it opened up at all-time highs this morning and then really tanked off and then came all the way back up in a very crazy trading day.
Very interesting. So I know a lot of people, like when Biden speaks, they like to look at EV stocks, marijuana stocks, and solar stocks. And if we look at those three sectors today, we actually saw a decent sized pullback. Like we have NIO right now, it finished down like 5.5% on the day. Tesla finished down about 2.5%. If we go to the solar ETF, which is TAN, they're down around 2% today. If we go to the marijuana ETF, MJ, they're also down around 2%. So it is interesting to see that. But if you're a fan of these three sectors for the long term, these dips are definitely the time to buy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that my favorite ones to get right now are BLNK and CHPT. And like we talked about yesterday, CHPT has a pretty high short float. So there could be a little bit of a push up there. But just keep in mind, anything can still happen with these. And they could obviously still go down. Obviously, some people are shorting them. So maybe they'll actually be correct and it'll end up going down. We'll just have to see what happens. But if it does go up, then they get forced out of their position. That would obviously drive the stock price up.
Very interesting. And then one thing, while we're on this topic, I like ENPH right now. It's Enphase. They are a solar company, and they actually fell on earnings. And I love their setup right now for cash secured puts or even shares for the long term. But is there any major news for today?
Really, that's just about it. I mean, there was some job growth news today where job growth picked up in March with 916,000 payrolls, and CNBC reports that some of the economists expect that trend to keep continuing. And it's just good news. And they're saying now that nearly 30% of all Americans are vaccinated. More businesses are starting to reopen, and there's starting to be more traffic in retail stores and air travel and those different types of industries. So overall, that it was just good news to see that, and I think that's part of the reasons why the SPY is at all-time highs still.
Sounds great. Well, let's get right into our momentum plays and our member of the day. Today's member of the day is Corbin Y. So huge shout out, Corbin. Thank you so much for all the positive comments. And thanks for joining the live stream today. If you guys don't know already, Tom and I have been going live every single morning at open. It's on the new channel, the Stocked Up live channel. The link is in the description down below. But thanks for joining us on the live, Corbin. And guys, feel free to join us too. But let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have ENPH. So I love this stock for the long term, and I'm hoping it falls more for some cash secured puts. But Tom, what levels should we be watching for maybe like a day trade with puts to the downside?
Yeah, definitely make it fall below $140. It's a pretty solid key area there.
All right, and then we have Microsoft.
Microsoft, MSFT. Go ahead and make them fall again. Another play to the downside, but make them fall below 249.
All right, and then we have Square also to the downside.
Yeah, with Square, this is a pretty unfortunate one, but make them fall below 245 even.
Sounds good. So we are eyeing these three plays for potential day trades tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. But now let's get right into the $25 million options trade that expires tomorrow with Tesla. So we are looking at the 670 strike puts that expire tomorrow for Tesla. There was around $25 million put into this play. Obviously, it's a lot of money. Looking at the way Tesla's moving, I think it's a really tough. A very interesting scenario. I'll say that because Tesla is trending down. It's been falling for like the past 4 to 5 days, and these options are only around only around $5 out of the money, and they expire tomorrow. So I don't know. I'm very neutral on this one. Like part of me can see them shorting these puts where it could be like a cash secured put, but at the same time, with the way Tesla's moving, like maybe they're buying these puts and they're longing them where they want Tesla to fall. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they might be longing them. We saw Tesla have a pretty big drop today. It opened right around $700 and just tanked below it. We were talking about this morning, and it ended up breaking that low around like 692.50 intraday while we were live, and it really started going down from there all the way down to like 668.50. That's just a terrible drop. I think they might be longing it. Like you said, it's a hard situation to look at, but the big thing I'm looking at is that it's down below the 700 support, and it even came up and hit off of the 780 resistance before falling back below that. And I don't know what to think of it right now. I think I'm just going to try to look at it still to the downside tomorrow, if anything, but they could be, I don't know. It's just a very hard situation here with this play. I think they might be longing it just given what we're seeing with the momentum though.
Gotcha. I think the best way to play it would be if we see negative momentum come tomorrow morning, then it might be good for like a day trade. They actually have a pretty solid support level right around 670. So maybe if they break below that, it could be good. I think the best way is just to like eye it out come tomorrow morning. But let's get right into the questions from the previous episode. With the first question, we have Trumper saying, could you cover SENS? I believe a big reversal has started, and I think SCNS stock will run to new highs with their current 180 glucose monitoring system pending FDA approval. Would love to hear your thoughts. So let's take a look at SCNS. It's down around 7% today, so it's not good to see. We don't really trade penny stocks like this, so by default, I'm not a huge fan of it just because I don't really trade penny stocks. But anything with a like FDA approval, that can be amazing. And the stock can double or triple, and it could also, fall by 50%. Penny stocks, especially ones that, are dealing with like FDA approval announcements, are extremely volatile. But on a technical level, they are sitting right around that $2 support. So I don't think it's like a bad time to start averaging in if you think we will see a big reversal coming.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, this stock, it's not like the worst one in the world, especially if they have that approval. They did have a big high up here, and then they've recently been falling. I just, it's one of those stocks. It's going to be pretty risky, and I definitely wouldn't go in with your whole position on this one. Definitely limit your risk here, and don't go like all in, or don't use a lot of your portfolio on this play. That's for sure.
Alrighty, and then we have Rich saying, what are your views on CLOV right now, considering the big spike today to the upside? Not saying it's going to short squeeze, just saying it has the potential to be a game changer in the medical insurance field. So it definitely has potential. It pulled back a little bit today, but it was really running up this morning. I think it has a lot of potential. It is risky. Honestly, I think the best way to go with this one would be like a cash secured put. I know I always like recommend this, but it's a really good setup for cash secured puts. IV is pretty high. The stock fell a good amount, so I think it could be a win-win as long as you like the stock for the long term. It does have potential to short squeeze. Overall, I like it, but I don't love it. So just be careful, and risk management is more important than anything else.
Yeah, for sure. It's always a risky play with stocks like this. I mean, it was at $17, went down to 6, now it's at 10. So very volatile. Just be careful with it.
All right, and then we have Steven saying, nice videos, really appreciate the outlooks. What do you think about Snap? So SNAP, let's take a look at it. They're not really doing anything. I like them for the long term, but in terms of like a short-term trade, they're really not doing anything. They're kind of in the middle of their range, so I don't really see too many opportunities for them right now. They tried to run up today. They tried to run up today, but they got rejected really hard, right around like $64.25. So I'm just gonna stay neutral. One support level I do see though is like right around $61.
Yeah, I agree. 61 is a pretty good level. And overall, the stock should be good for the longer term, just given what Snapchat does. But in the short term, you can see it's a pretty volatile stock, and it might start to go up if we see stocks like Facebook and other ones like that starting to go up, which we are starting to see. Facebook hit all-time highs on those earnings. So if we see Snapchat, see they just reported earnings too, and it wasn't the best earnings, but it was pretty good. It made their stock pop a little bit. So maybe they'll follow like Facebook and some of the other ones and maybe retest their highs over the next couple weeks.
All right, and then we have P asking about Amazon. So let's take a look at it. They are at all-time highs right now. I would just really emphasize to be careful right now. The earnings season has been pretty wild. Like we see amazing earnings, but the stocks just like pull back, or they just have really weird movement. So I just want to say, just be careful with it. It can be great for like a call day trade tomorrow if they're just continuing to run up and they have a lot of momentum. But I would just say, like, be really careful with it. The only like solid earnings play that I've seen this week would be UPS. It actually had good earnings and it's still running up. I'm actually looking to play some call credit spreads on this one, probably tomorrow as long as it's up again. But I would just be careful with Amazon.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Amazon's one of those big stocks that always likes to run. UPS has just been one of the hottest stocks lately. Obviously, all the shippers have been benefiting from COVID, but Amazon is starting to look good here in after hours. I would not be surprised, though, if it started to fall back down like we see with Apple. So just be a little bit wary. If we see especially like the SPY fall off tomorrow and market open like we saw today, then it might pull Amazon down with it, but we'll just have to see what happens. Their EPS was great, and I think their earnings were a little bit better than Apple's, but we'll just have to see what happens.
Sounds great. So, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, anything you're watching for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm really looking at AMD. I really like it kind of. It's still down there at like the $83 level. It got rejected over the past couple of days. I'm wondering if it can start to maybe pop back up. It had decent earnings, so maybe it can start to, get some momentum over the next couple of days. But we can see this was another stock that had good earnings, popped up in after hours, and then just tanked off at open. And this one wasn't even today like Apple. It was a couple days ago. So it's just a good example of what goes on with earnings. But I'm going to be looking to play it now after earnings. If we do see it start to run up with some good earnings, it could, I think it could easily start to retest $90 once again.
Sounds great. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to text StockedUp to 39970. We're going to be sending out market updates and things like that through those text messages. So definitely text us. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. And if you want to trade with Tom and I every single day, day trades, swing trades, and access to our bots, you can click the first link in the description down below for about $40 off. And like I said, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.